Bienvenidas, bienvenidas, bienvenidos. Welcome everyone to this special episode where I will be speaking with 3 students about their experiences in the Black and Latino Studies department here at Baruch College. We'll get to know a little about them, why they chose to take BLS courses, and how they see their BLS studies as something that will stay with them long after they've graduated. So let's get to it. All right, welcome everyone. We're going to go around, if you could each introduce yourselves, tell us your names, what your majors are and your minor, and when you anticipate graduating.
Hello, my name is Ashanti. I'm a journalism major with a minor in Black and Latino Studies and English.
Okay, double minor. And you plan on graduating this year?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Estrada. I am a communications major with a Spanish and Latino studies minor, and I am graduating this December.
All right. Wow. Okay. Winter graduation. We love it.
Hello, my name is Sam. I am currently a BLS major with a psych minor. I will be graduating in spring of 2026.
Awesome. So we've got 2 minors and 1 major here in Black and Latino Studies. I want to ask you all first, when did you learn that Black and Latino Studies was something that you could major or minor in? And what were your initial thoughts when you first found this out?
I was told within the class, my first intro to be LTS, and that is when I noticed it could be a minor, because at that point I didn't know what my minor would be.
Right. Right. Yeah, you have to choose one. And I was like, so disclaimer, all 3 of these ladies were in my intro to Latin American Studies class. And it would have been me who was like, hey, guys, guess what's up? Michelle?
Same way that Ashanti found out, I found out. But I think originally I was looking at it as an extracurricular kind of like elective credit thing. And then the more I got into it, the more I was more interested in it. And I'm like, wait, what if I just stay here? I actually really like this. So that's why I kept going with it.
I love that, right? And that's something that students can do here is like they can take one class just as an elective, kind of see how it feels, and then maybe shift it into a minor.
Okay, my experience is actually pretty funny given the fact that when I first took your Intro to Latino Studies class, I feel like we had a rocky start. We had a we had a very interesting start, but by the end of the class, I think I fell in love with like your teaching style and the content itself. So when I found out that I could take more classes and possibly make it my minor, that's what like made the most sense.
Right. So that's it. You started out as a minor and then you ended up shifting over to it as a major. So it's
Mhm.
also something that I think students should be aware of is that you come in with one thing in mind and maybe you stick with it, maybe you don't. And
Yeah.
if you don't, you can change it to something like BLS.
I mean, like, I changed my major last semester. Like, I'm a senior. I'm literally a senior. I'm like in my fall semester senior year, and this is my first official semester as a BLS major, and I could not be happier.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. Yeah, because you just started as a minor, took a few classes, and are like, actually, let me do this. And for everyone who's listening, our major requires 30 credits. So that's generally speaking 10 classes. And a minor requires 3. So if you're doing the minor, you're, a third of the way there. Just might as well keep going. All right. So I want to know what made you decide to actually do the major or minor in Black and Latino studies? Like, what was that thing that shifted you from like, oh, this is a class I could take to, yes, this is what I want to do. And I'm also curious if you wouldn't mind mentioning what classes you've taken to satisfy these major and minor requirements.
For me, it was more of like I was in Latinas when I officially decided I wanted to be a minor. And it was more on the sense of I really like that class, like shift, or it was like, oh, this is just not like a free elective class. This is a class I will actually enjoy and I would like having more classes like this. So I have taken Intro to LTS, I've taken Latinas, I've taken Intro to BLS. I'm in BLS, Black literature.
All right. So Black literature. And with Latinas, which you said was the class that made you decide, that was your second elective class, right? That wasn't the first elective class you had taken. So at that point, you were in your third class in the department.
Yeah, it was my third.
Michelle?
I've taken your literature in Latino literature. That's the comic book class, my favorite one.
Hmm.
And then I took global inequality, and then I took your Black and Latino seminar last semester, which was very fun. I think what really got me to stay, um, it was just like it was an open invitation to have a conversation that most people are uncomfortable about. I think right now we live in a society where anything can be a sensitive topic and anything you say can be viewed in the wrong way, but this kind of invites you to be like, okay, let's kind of live with that uncomfortableness and actually talk about it. Like it invites you to like not show like hide it away or like shoo it away. It's just like, okay, let's sit here, talk about it and what we like, what we don't like, and how can we change that moving forward.
Yeah, and that was something we definitely tried to cultivate in that class, right? When we talked about certain topics, we were like, you know what, let's shut the door because this is a conversation that is safe among the group of us, but the whole world maybe doesn't need to be a part of it.
I would love when you shut the door every time. I'm like, yes, it's gonna get good in here.
Sam?
Yeah, like Ashanti and Michelle, we started out in your intro to Latino studies. And then I think after that, like the next class I took with you might have been it was the what is it, Latino literature in the US with the when we did the comic books. And
Hmm.
I think that's genuinely like my favorite class of all time. Like I talk about that class to everyone. I'm like, oh my God, you have to take it. It's so good. Because I thought it was so incredible the way that you use comic books and the way that all of these books had extremely important and heavy and incredible topics that were just portrayed in a way that you wouldn't have otherwise really gotten as into it. I feel like a novel doesn't have the same impact as a graphic novel. I think when you have pictures, you can imagine it a little bit more. Like, one that I'm thinking of right now was Frontera. Yeah, Frontera by Julio Anta. And like, that is an incredible story and it's a comic book and you can imagine it, visualize it, really put yourself in the people's position because these are real people's stories.
Hmm.
And then after that, like, the seminar class, that was also amazing. I really enjoyed that class. And then this semester, since I'm a major, I'm taking a bunch more classes to fulfill the major. And I could go on a rant for an hour for every single class, but I can't do that. But I think my favorite at the moment might be the Women of Color class because it is such a diverse topic, but also very centralized in the sense that the main thing that we talk about is about cultural standards and customs in Caribbean women's culture and Caribbean culture, specifically women. And it's just opened like a whole new door that I didn't really think of. Like all of these cultural customs and Caribbean culture that are all brand new is like a door of like flooding in of like new knowledge that I've just been like I'm thirsty. I'm really thirsty. And it's like satisfying it all. But yeah, no, it's a really, really, really great class. And the Latinas class as well, like, and your class as well, the Caribbean theater, like all of the classes are amazing. All of the classes are amazing. I just always resonate with them a lot and find myself quite literally excited to go to class, which is a crazy statement from someone that barely wanted to get into college.
And I think first I want to mention that you brought up Frontera by Julio Anta and Jacoby Salcedo. And for our listeners, if you want to know a little bit more about that book, Professor Robles and I actually interviewed both the author and artist of that book, and that episode will be coming out next month, so you can give that a listen when it's ready. And the other thing, would it be safe to assume that each of you identifies as Latina?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Okay, so I ask that simply because a lot of students are like, why do I need to study this? I already am this. Like, I identify with this culture, I live these experiences. Why then would taking classes actually make some sort of difference? Sam, you were talking about being excited to go to class, but are you all actually learning something new, even if it is something that you already identify with?
I will say yes because I forgot to mention I took Puerto Rican culture, and as a Puerto Rican, yeah, I knew a lot about my culture, but it was learning it in a different like view that was very like interesting.
Yeah, kind of seeing different angles of it, that even within the country and the culture that you experience, that's not a monolith and that there are other aspects of that culture. Would that be appropriate to suggest?
Yes.
For me, I am a nerd. Okay, so here's my perspective on it. I think as a person that is born in a Latina household, but grows up in a city like New York, where we are surrounded by different countries and different cultures all the time, I think it would be very ignorant of me if I didn't have the curiosity to learn more about the other cultures that I'm surrounded by. My friends are Mexican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, Dominican, like from all different parts of the world. And I go to their houses and I go to these places and I'm like, I don't want to be rude. I want to know, I want to show that I know a little bit more and that I'm not completely lost in what their culture talks about because, they're inviting me to their home. I don't want to disrespect it. And it's just a fun knowledge to carry with you to be knowledgeable about all these other places, all other people's experiences, including in Black and Latino studies, BLS, and not just LTS. But it's good to have that knowledge with you and carry it with you. And I love learning about different cultures and things like that, different experiences. So for me, it just invited me to keep being curious.
And it's really great too, because as you mentioned, the BLS and LTS aspect, we are a joint department with that. And maybe if you're a minor, you kind of focus on one side of things or the other. When you come together in that capstone, it's really about looking at those two groups of people and maybe the shared experiences as well as the uniquely distinct experiences that each culture has.
For me, it has a whole different level of importance because I went to a Catholic private PWI out in Queens that was very racist, very conservative. I say racist because they were racist straight up to me. All of like the isms, they were. That school was. And so coming into Baruch, I had my reservations about coming into a school in the city. I just found it cool and appealing. But being able to take a class on not really, I wouldn't say my own culture because it's so much more. It's not like I wouldn't, because it's not a class on Colombian culture, it's a class on Latino studies, which is still my culture, but it's on a broader spectrum. And I think it being on a broader spectrum opens the door, like Michelle said, to be able to be more knowledgeable. And it allows you to dive deeper in not just your own culture, specifically your ethnic background, but your what's the not no not your nationality but your ethnic background, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so for me, I mean, I think it's really important. I mean, you think you know a lot about your culture, but you really know a lot about your nationality, not your ethnicity as much. So it's you have national patriotism and pride, right? The Colombian, I know pride is a huge, huge, huge thing. Colombian pride goes crazy. So being able to step into learning about a broader history of Latin America is much different, and I think it's just really, really, really good. And in the sense that it's you are learning stuff that you kind of knew a little bit about, colonialization, all these things, but it's on a deeper level. So you get a
Mm-hmm.
bit more in depth. And then from there, you can explore, women of color subtopics, Caribbean women, or Puerto Rican history, stuff like that, or Caribbean theater. So it's after you get the intro, the basics, the broader spectrum class, you can get into the specifics. And I feel like that's where it gets really fun.
And that's a great point, right? For both BLS 1003 and LTS 1003, you're kind of getting this introduction to the topic more broadly. And then within the classes you can choose, you can narrow down how you've what you choose to focus on. So my next question is kind of bringing back to the classes and such. I'm curious about some of the experiences that you had in the classes that really stood out to you. Maybe excursions, guest speakers, experiential or hands-on learning, maybe projects, or even just topics that were discussed in the class. Something that kind of stood out to you in your learning experience.
So within maybe a lot of my classes, I've had a lot of writing, and It's more like not just your traditional essay. It's more of like you could go beyond it. You could choose your topic. I don't have that a lot in a couple of my classes where you're able to choose the topic you want to write about. And it's like if this topic interests you, you write about it. I've done podcasts for many other classes outside now of BLS and LTS.
Mm.
And in my BLS class now, it's helping me like we have to present a lot and it's helping me more get used to like the public speaking aspect. But I feel like throughout every other like every class I have, I like the freedom they give you for certain excitements.
Michelle, how about you? Are there some experiences you had in your classes that stood out to you?
What I do remember very vividly was me and Ashanti made podcasts a lot for your classes, but I'm currently taking a Puerto Rican culture class. And again, that theme of doing a podcast, but still like making it a creative project, because honestly, I dread doing papers. I hate it as a college student, and I will say it proudly with my chest. I hate writing papers. But if you give me a more creative project where it's more engaging and I can actively do something that I like, because I am in the radio station, so podcasts are my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can do this and I can make it engaging and I can yap for hours, truly. So I really enjoy doing these type of projects where we can be creative. And not only in that class, I feel like in many of the classes that I took for Latino studies, gives you some type of creative outlet. Like in the comic book class, we made comics or we tried different things in there that again promoted creativity. And I think I really like that because I think within these classes, we read a lot of like excerpts and stories that are important in the history, but we also look at the artwork. And that itself is makes it inviting for us to create things in those classes, which I truly enjoyed.
So you're talking about alternative ways of both learning and demonstrating your knowledge. And what I'm hearing from both of you so far is that it's also given you these spaces to learn skills that you can transfer to other classes, but also maybe beyond your time here at Baruch, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
For me, I think initially, right off the bat, the comic book class was like, just an incredible way of learning, and making the little zines was genuinely been like a really incredible memory of like my college experience. But aside from that, I think it has to be the mural projects with Professor Elizabeth de la Cruz Santana. Like her projects are incredible. Her work is incredible. Her digital storytelling, the videos that we made, I had a class with her last semester, I think it was, where we had to make a video, like kind of like a video biography, I guess, on a creative who's Latina and was also like a child immigrant, basically. So it's like honoring those stories and really, taking care of them and making sure that they are visible and they have a platform and that they have reach. And all of that is like, was an incredible, truly incredible experience. And her projects, like, the first one, El Paso del Norte mural, it was installed in the border in El Paso, Texas. Like, are you kidding me? Like, the fact that something that I contributed to is actively on a border between Mexico and the US, and is possibly a reason why someone who's trying to seek a better life, sees the mural, and like that's the goal for them to see the mural and keep going and keep seeking that better life, and like to not let that fire let go, because if you're crossing the border for a better life, like it's not for nothing, you know what I mean? And so it's like having contributed in that, like knowing that like is genuinely like an incredible experience that you can't put it fully into words if like you genuinely care about it.
What I like about what I'm hearing from all of you now when I put those things together is that you're creating work that goes out into the world, right? That the podcast can be listened to anyone who has access to a device with podcasts. This mural is actually out in the world where people can see it, and you contribute to that. It kind of gives you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this sense of wow, what I'm doing here matters. And it matters more than just for a grade.
Exactly. It's more than just let me just come in and take a test and get into corporate America. Like no shade to corporate America, but little shade to corporate America.
Michelle, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, because the mural project that Sam was talking about, last semester I took a Spanish translation course, English to Spanish translation course, but we had an overlapping class with Lisbeth de la Cruz Santana, where she had us translate this documentary that she's been working on, and she gave us interviews of people that she's interviewed in Spanish and in English, and we had to create the translations of them. And hearing those stories and then knowing that that one day will be get published out in the world and we're gonna like our names are gonna show on there. I'm like, oh wow, I did something cool actually. I talked about this story that everyone has heard and gone through before, but it's so interesting to actually work with them. You know, it's a completely different experience than what people think of it to be.
I love that. And I think in all the cases for all three of you, whether you're majoring or minoring, the other side of your work, communications, journalism, psychology, that in the work that I've seen you do, and it sounds like in these other projects as well, that you're able to integrate those things together. So I'm curious, how do you plan on incorporating your BLS experiences into your future, whether in your career or grad school or even just within your communities?
I think BLS and Latino studies have been super helpful for my career specifically because I've always been very oriented that from the beginning of my college career, I always knew I wanted to work in some type of Latino enterprise, some type of Latino company. And I ended up getting that. I got the opportunity to have an internship at Alpha, and it's a culture surrounded in Latinos and it's very welcoming to all types of other minorities as well. But it was so nice to be in a space where you're not the only Latina and people are actually educated on these things and you can keep on going with that, because I've worked in a company where I was the only Latina person, and I'm just like, where's the sazon here? Where where's the hot sauce in the fridge? And I don't have to have that worry in Alpha. So I think I even tried to do that with the kids that I babysit. I try to educate them a little bit. It's a little harder with them, but I think I try to take the knowledge everywhere. Or sometimes I would come home from class and I'd just sit down at my dinner table. Mom, do you know that this, that, and the third? She's tired of me. I know it. But you know what? I love sharing that type of knowledge. And I think I will forever take it with me no matter where I go.
Love that.
It wasn't till I was taking the capstone when I noticed that there are like the field I want to go into is sports journalism, and then there are like Latinas in sports journalism because I was always assumed because it was such a men-dominated field and it's just now turning into a field that includes women. I was expecting to be the only one, but it wasn't until I did a project and it was like, oh, wait, I'm not the only one. And I was inspired more and it was like, oh, I could take this, I could really take this with me for even something like sports journalism, which has nothing to do what I've learned within my classes. But it's something I like brought me notice to like people within the workspace that I'm tending to go into.
Right. And so, what you're talking about in the capstone is this sort of idea that I asked you all to connect your majors to BLS or your minor to BLS and kind of figure out how you could link those together. And that's where you were able to take that time and do the research to find out, hey, I'm not alone. And these are people that I could maybe look up to or reach out to for advice or job opportunities or whatever the case may be. Sam?
My goal is to get my master's in social work, and I think my focus has always been the Latino community. So having all of this like as a sociological background, I feel like I don't know if it was you, professor, or another I think it might have been Santana that I was speaking with, that we were talking about how like it's a like sociology is the basis of almost everything, whether or not people actually think about it or care about it. Like when you think about it, sociology is literally just the study of society and people and how we interact. So it's like no matter what career you carry that into, like that is still going to give you more knowledge. So specifically for me, like since I want to go to grad school and be a clinical social worker, a background in BLS and having a background on like knowledge of like more so like Latino culture, since I am Latina, it just, I don't know, it kind of gives you more confidence that you like know what you're talking about, that you're educated and that you have knowledge and that, yeah, I got a degree in this. Like I know what I'm talking about. Like I'm not just being, not to get political, but like a crazy radical liberal, like like that immigrants should have rights. You know what I mean? Like that's not crazy radical liberal. That's just literally being educated. But nobody wants to talk about that. But we don't want to talk about that. But yeah, so I mean, I think I'll carry it. Yeah, like you know, the other side, like kind of like forever. And it's like no matter what, like even if it's not in a professional setting, like in a personal way, like these classes have really made an impact. All of them, each and every single one in their own unique way. Like they're all important. They're all incredible.
And going to something that Michelle said, like going home and talking to your mom about these things, you've had similar experiences,
Oh,
yes?
100%. Like, you know, I feel like I think I got home like after like what is it, my freshman semester taking the intro class and I'm like, "Oh my God, I had a Latino studies class and it's really, really, really good." And then after that, like, you know, maybe not so much like specifying to my mom, but like to my friends, like anyone that I could tell I would talk to about now my major. Anyone that I could talk to about, like anyone that had an ear to listen and be like, "Oh my God, you should take the Latino studies, the literature class. Like it's comic books. It's so cool. It's so cool." You know what I mean? Or like the mural class with Elizabeth. Like go, go, go. Like you should take it. Like, you know, it's like if I ever had the opportunity, which I did, I like always took it to tell people about it. Cause it's like there's such incredible classes. And it's like I think more students would enjoy them had they known about them. Even as a one-off, like a finance major taking a one-off elective course. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
even then, like I have a finance friend who is working in Wells Fargo now and like literally like top of the top of like finance classes, whatever, right? And it's like he came by and saw my project at the expo and he was like, "Sam, this is really cool stuff." And he's like a white, like the whitest finance bro you've ever seen. Love him. Love him so much. But he was like, "Damn, I wish I," he literally said, "Damn, I wish I like had a chance to like take a class about it. Like you seem so passionate about it." Like whenever I would tell him about it, I'm like, "Oh my God, like these classes are incredible." It's like, "Sam, like you make me want to like take a class." And I'm like, "You should." It's like, "I can't. I don't have any more in my schedule." Like he's a finance major, like all
Yeah,
of them.
they're very strict in the
They're
business
very strict.
department. And I think that's part of why I wanted to do this episode, right? Is to get the word out about this department, right? A lot of people don't even know that Baruch has Black and Latino studies until they've gotten here and they've taken either BLS 1003 or LTS 1003, our introductory courses. And if we can get people aware of this sooner, then maybe they will have that opportunity to fit it in their schedule, to make it their minor, right? Because Zicklin students, that's our business school for our non-Baruch listeners, they are asked to do a liberal arts minor, and that could very much be Black and Latino studies if they know about it soon enough. All right, so I have just one last question, and it's kind of open-ended here. You know, what else would you want to tell students who are considering taking Black and Latino Studies courses? What do you wish they knew about the department and the classes that you can take?
Just do it.
Do it. It's so worth it. The people you meet within it, the professors are all so nice. It's a department that if you really take the class and you immerse yourself in it, it will feel like a family within a class. Nobody judge you. Nobody like questions your views. It's more of like I could feel free to talk how I want to talk.
Yeah, and even if there is a question, it's done in a compassionate way, right? That we're like, okay, tell me more about this, or let's talk about this in a comparative sense. Like, if that's your experience, I didn't have that. I'm questioning because I'm unaware more as an opportunity to learn than a place of judgment, right?
Yeah.
I would also say it's a very empathetic space. I think we have a lot of shared experiences, even if we haven't gone through the same exact experiences. I think it's such an open and welcoming place. And it makes it very easy to make friends in there. Like, look at the three of us, the three musketeers. We all started in your class. So I honestly just do it. You're gonna have fun. It's a great space.
I like that though, the idea of you're going to have fun. It's an empathetic space, but would you still say that there's like some learning rigor, right? Like there's actually work to be done.
Oh, absolutely. You learn a lot. There's a lot of work to be done, but still, it's like, it's not as dreading as like taking a law class, for example. No shade to my law class, but that, yes, shade. But it's not as dreadful as it seems. Like maybe in moments of like, oh my God, I have so much work to do, but it's worth it.
I mean, yeah, touching on that rigor, I mean, I remember like right now, like your Caribbean theater class, like I be struggling to get the work and the assignments done, but like, it's a lot, but it's worth it when I do. Like I get mad at myself because I know myself that I'm gonna enjoy reading the plays, I'm gonna enjoy talking about the plays, and therefore dissecting the characters in the plays. You know what I mean? It's just like all like the academic rigor is 100% there. It's just it depends on like what class. Like for example, like the Latinos class, like I think since the topics are so dense sometimes that we talk about, like I think our professor wants to give us a little bit of like brain relief in the sense that it's like we're already talking about really heavy things. And the women of color class, we're already talking about really really like straight up traumatizing passages that really forever alter your perception of like family dynamics and stuff like that. So it's like I think it depends on the class. I feel like since the class, like your class, like even though it's still, I think, if we dissect it, there's still heavy topics in it, of course. But I think it's like, since it's a play, it's a little bit more, I mean, it's supposed to be entertaining, first and foremost, it's a play. So it's like, you're able to kind of like get into it a little bit more, but the workload after reading it obviously pretty heavy, not crazy heavy, but pretty heavy in the sense that you have to sit down and do the work. And same goes for the other classes, aside from it being the classes themselves being like super interesting and fun and engaging and enriching overall. But yeah, I mean, academic rigor is 100% there. Demand, that you actually like sit down and do your work, 100% there. But also like, yeah, like Ashanti and Michelle said, like there's a community, like you get to make friends. It's very empathetic space. Like, all of those things combined and then alongside, academic rigor. Like I don't know what else to call it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, right? I had a student once say that what they really liked about the classes was that it felt easy, but not because there wasn't work to do, but because they were really interested and passionate about the work that they were doing. So I think that kind of sums up a bit of what you all were saying, if I can put it together like that. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate this. I'm hoping to use this episode to get the word out about the department and encourage more students to at least minor in, or maybe just take a class and see how you feel about it. Usually we can get you for one class, we can get you for 2 and 3 and, well, 10 in the case of Sam. Yes, again, thank you all for joining me, and I hope everyone listening, if you have any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, we'll be back next month with an episode with Julio Anta and Jacoby Salcedo. That's an interview that Professor Robles and I conducted, and we hope you enjoy that as well.